Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are featuring Marvel Mechstrike Monster Hunters. Okay, so last year, one of my favorite toy lines was Avengers Mechstrike. I thought that was a wonderful toy line. For me, it checked all the boxes when it comes to what I look for in the perfect line of action figures. For number one, they were affordable. Number two, the quality was really high. They featured a lot of articulation. The detailing was nice. I love the costume design, the aesthetics. I loved the deluxe figures with the actual mech suits. I thought that line was fabulous. So last year, I remember seeing on social media the promotional photos for the upcoming Mechstrike Monster Hunters, which this figure is right here. And I was kind of lukewarm to the photos. I thought that the toy line kind of strayed too far from like the iconic look of the Avengers. Like for the original Mechstrike line, the costumes were updated and they kind of looked more like sci-fi like body armor. Whereas this, the Mechstrike Monster Hunters, it looks very, very alien. That was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw it at the store today. But I was kind of intrigued and I really wanted to give the line a chance. So we're going to check this out. So the first figure we're going to review in the Mechstrike line is Monster Hunters Captain America. As you can see, the package design, it's very bright. It's very eye-catching. And immediately you know there's something different about this version of Captain America. In the upper left corner, he's wearing some crazy looking body armor. His face is completely covered with this new high-tech looking mask. His traditional shield is no more. It looks like something out of, like, I don't know, maybe like Power Rangers or something. It's a very unique take on the character, and for me, like I said, initially I was lukewarm to the idea of this, but I really want to give it a chance. I want to see if the quality is on par with last year's Avengers Mechstrike. And I can't wait to unbox this and check it out. On the back of the box, we have a pretty cool illustration here of the Mechstrike Monster Hunters. As you can see, they take some of the well-known Avengers and villains, and they kind of tweak them so they're a little bit more, I guess, monsterfied. Over here, we have a monster-looking Thanos. We have Doctor Doom. This one here is really, really stretching it for me. This is Monster Hunters Loki. I saw him in the stores, and for now, I'm going to pass on him. I'm going to take a look at more action figures, and if I fall in love with the line, I might go back and get this guy. He's a deluxe figure, much larger size than this, and he retails for a couple dollars more. We have Black Panther, which I saw in the store and passed up on. We have Thor, which I'm going to review in a future video. There's Spider-Man, and I'm not sure if there's a figure for him just yet. Same goes with the Hulk. They have the Captain America Monster Hunter. I passed on that toy. It's kind of ridiculous looking, but I might change my mind later down the road. And then there's the Iron Man, and I actually have this, and I'm going to review that in a future video. All right, so let's get started. Alright, so my first impressions of Monster Hunter Captain America while it's in the tray, it's winning me over. I'll say that. The detailing on the body armor looks great. I think there might be some reuse here from last year's Avengers Mechstrike. The legs and the forearm look very familiar, so I'm assuming those might be the same pieces that were used for Mechstrike Captain America from last year's toy. The shield looks ridiculous. It's very, 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 very different from what I'm used to. It's very high-tech looking, and it's very strange. But so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I have to admit, I can't help but think of Power Rangers when I look at this toy line. For one, the color scheme is very bright on this guy. When you look at the box art here, the shade of blue on this Captain America is a lot darker. And I actually prefer this shade of blue over this one. But it's not bad. You know, I'll leave it at that. It's not bad. So let's take this out. Alright, so keep in mind that this is a budget toy. This is not on the same level as like a Marvel Legends. I believe I paid, I want to say, I think like $11.97 for this guy, which is a price increase from last year's Avengers Mechstrike. I believe last year the Mechstrike figures went for about maybe like $9.99. And I mean, we're seeing this across the board. Marvel Legends figures in general, you know, they saw a huge price increase. And I think that's just true with like a lot of things. So, all right. So height-wise, this guy comes in at he's about a little under 6¼ inches. He's smaller than a Marvel Legends Captain America. For a figure like that, a Marvel Legends, I think you're looking at, you know, about 6½ to 7 inches. This guy is considerably a lot smaller. In terms of the detail and the sculpting, it's well done. You know, don't be misled. Just because this is a budget toy doesn't mean that, you know, Hasbro doesn't put the time and effort into designing something that's very quality. You know, right off the bat, regardless of how you feel about the monster theme or the design aesthetic, it's a well-made and well-crafted action figure. A lot of care and thought goes into the design, and I'm actually kind of digging it a lot. You know, I think it's kind of cool that his head, it almost looks like, if you stare at it long enough, it almost looks like Optimus Prime, especially from a 3/4 angle right here. You know, kind of has that slight small visor that Optimus has. It kind of has that ridge on the forehead like Optimus, and of course the faceplate. He still retains Captain America's iconic wings on the side of his helmet. But these wings, they kind of evoke more of a... Let me get this into focus. God, my camera's not working today. It kind of evokes more of a, I want to say like a Thor look with the wings on the helmet. Because Cap, on his helmet, his wings are kind of small. Thor has the taller wings, and that kind of reminds me of Thor right here. But yeah, the faceplate looks very much like Optimus Prime. And then with the Monster Hunter theme, you kind of have Cap's 5-pointed star, but then there's a crazy-looking monster eye in the middle. Last year with Avengers Mechstrike, they actually had a comic book to complement the toy line. And I'm guessing there's probably going to be like a, you know, maybe like a novelization, like a kid's novelization, or maybe a comic book to accompany this one also to explain the Monster Hunter theme. I like the body armor here. It's cool that there's a star sculpted into the shoulder armor. The gauntlets, they look familiar. Like I said, these might have been reused from last year's figure. Articulation-wise, this guy, his arms... Let's get him into focus first. There's something about this guy's colors. All right, there you go. So articulation-wise, this guy's head rotates left and right. Doesn't really look down. Doesn't really look up. His arms rotate, and then they go out. Elbow bend, elbow swivel, I think. Yeah, elbow swivel. No wrist articulation, no waist articulation, unfortunately. As for his legs kick up about that much. Knee bend, and I believe knee swivel, and no ankle articulation. As for his shield, it's well sculpted. It's, like I said, it's very different. It's very alien. It's very sci-fi and high-tech looking. And then you have the peg here, so he can hold it in his fist. So you can have Cap hold it like that. Or if you want, you can plug it into his forearm. So he has this look, which is nice. or you could take it off. And I love this with last year's figure also. You know, there's a socket in the back, plug the peg in, and then he can store his shield onto his backpack like that. It's a nice look. And it looks like one thing they gave him this year is that I think this might be a handle. So it's a little too thin to be a handle, but you know, I guess he could pretend it's a handle. And maybe he could wield his shield, I don't know, kind of like an axe. Alright, so since we're on the subject of Avengers Mechstrike, let's take out some of the figures from last year and do a comparison. Alright, so last year, one of the cool things with Avengers Mechstrike is that you got these mech suits. And this was a great value. I believe these retailed for about $19.99. And then you got this awesome like mech armor. It's semi-articulated, you know, the arms move. And then the cool thing was, I really like this feature a lot, is that you could actually, you know, deposit an action figure inside of it. So I love the fact that there's, you know, some sort of interaction between the action figure and the mech suit. And this is the Captain America Avengers Mechstrike figure that accompanied this guy. And then we also have the solo release figure, which is over here. So this also belonged to the Avengers Mechstrike line, but this was the solo carded figure, whereas these two things, this was a box set. Now, as you can see, all the figures are roughly kind of the same height. Different uniforms altogether. Now, this is the color I kind of would have preferred for this guy. This shade of blue looks like the shade of blue that they used on the card art. And now that I'm handling this figure, I'm already noticing some reuse. So this figure actually has, or actually shares some of the same components as this guy over here. For example, if you look at their arms, they actually share the same arms, you know, just different colors. The shoulder armor is the same. The forearm gauntlets, I believe, are the same. The torso piece and the head piece are what's different. You know, this has the Monster Hunter theme with the eye, and this kind of has the much more traditional Captain America look. The legs are also reused. So yeah, you're not really getting an entirely new figure with this guy. You know, there's the color change, but for the most part, the only new pieces you're getting are his upper torso and his head. You know, otherwise he shares the same legs and arms as the solo carded Mechstrike Captain America. And on the subject of budget Captain Americas, I have another one I want to share with you. So this came out last year also. This was from the Gamerverse line, and this figure I believe also retailed for about $9.99. And he's about the same scale as these other figures, as you can see right here. You know, these are roughly like on the smaller end of the 6-inch scale. And just like these other guys, he's kind of well articulated for a budget figure. Now what's odd with this figure is that I haven't handled this guy in like over a year, and for whatever reason, all of his limbs are just like super loose. I don't know if over time the plastic expands and just kind of loosens up or what, but his limbs kind of flail around now. It wasn't like that before, so. Alright, so let's wrap this up. Whoops, drop that. Okay, so we have Monster Hunter Captain America. So how do I rate this figure on a scale of 1 to 10? My first thought was, I want to say an 8. It seems a little bit too generous, but the costume design is growing on me. My biggest qualms with this action figure is the price point. You know, is this figure worth $11 or $12? You know, it's up to you. You know, last year when I paid $9.99 for the original Mechstrike figures, I thought that was a bargain. You know, we're seeing a price increase, and, you know, the quality is still the same. It's not like the quality is improving, or it's not like they're giving us more accessories. You know, you're just paying a little bit more for this figure. If you really enjoyed the Avengers Mechstrike initially with the first wave last year, you might not necessarily need this unless you really dig the monster theme. You know, for the most part, I think You know, especially since this reuses the same arms and legs, you're not completely treading over new water. You know, this feels very much in line with last year's figure, despite the differences in the helmet and the body. But overall, I think it's a quality figure. I think Hasbro did a great job working with Marvel and coming up with this fun idea. I think it's very kid friendly. You know, this action figure is very durable. Kids will love to handle it. And the theme is really fun too. You know, if you have a child that's into Power Rangers, you know, you mix that with Marvel superheroes, you end up with something that looks like this. And for me, that's kind of a winning combination. You know, it's just up to you whether or not this is something you feel that you need or don't need in your collection. Alright, so let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber viewer, thank you so much for your likes, comments, and support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one.